From the 28-yard line of Auburn. Bama going left to right. Bryce gets the snap, knee high. Looks, throws the fade route, near side end zone. Got it! Caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Caught by Ja'Cory Brooks in the end zone.
And Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
And Alabama has come from nowhere to defeat the Auburn Tigers in multiple overtimes.
Welcome back, Titan Tigers NFL Draft Edition. What we're going to do is I'm going to give my top 20 picks, and I'm going to get Chance to kind of agree, disagree, if he sees any trades coming, and we're just going to go from there. I'm excited about this draft. I think a lot has changed the last couple weeks. I think everybody was thinking Ward and Sanders were going to go 1-2. I don't think that's happening anymore. I want you to give – I'm going to give you my reasoning, give you the teams, and you give maybe somebody different or you think them going somewhere else. So we're going to start at the top. Cam Ward, number 1 to the Titans. Titans don't have a quarterback. I think this is the only way to go. It's crazy they missed out on Will Levis. They missed out on Tannehill. Now they're having to start over again. Actually, they went and got Malik Willis.
I was about to say they got Malik Willis, and he
this is the
worked
fourth
for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so this is the fourth time they've gone to quarterback. I think they got to go quarterback, and they get Cam Ward.
But do you go for a quarterback that's already proven to be kind of a selfish, not team player? I feel like if you're a team like the Titans, you need a motivator. You need somebody like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cam Ward's that guy, but they do need a quarterback, so I don't see any trade happening with them unless they trade for an actual quarterback.
Do you see them getting Sanders instead of Ward, or do you think
no?
Ward? Okay.
Sanders is too much of a liability for the Titans, I feel like, because Sanders wants control of things. I have a feeling Sanders is going to be the first active player by the end of his career to be a part owner of a team.
Wow.
I feel like that's the goal his dad's setting for him, and he's going to reach that.
Wow, that's awesome.
So if that does happen, it's not going to be Tennessee.
Yeah. All right. Second pick, Browns. They don't have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson out for another year. They've gotten Flacco. I think they're going to wait later into the first round, early second round to get their quarterback, maybe a Jackson Dart. I think they go with the best player available here, and they get Travis Hunter to play receiver and DB, like we talked about earlier.
Who's the last first-round quarterback to pan out?
I mean, it was an unbelievable class last year. I mean, Drake May ended up starting. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, your quarterback, was a very good pick. And Bo Nix was a very good first-round pick. I mean, there was 3 in last year's class alone. So, Mahomes was the first. But, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good – last year may have been the best quarterback class of all time.
True. But I'm trying to think of, like, the ones with Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and all those. Like, Baker, it's taken 10 years for him to – get where he's going.
Again, but it's all about the situation. And Jaden Daniels, to me, went into a good situation with a team that all they needed was a quarterback. So.
Exactly. So I don't know if Cleveland is a team that, like you said, they don't need Shador because they could go for someone like Hunter.
Yeah.
But what are they going to do? They got to trade for somebody like Rodgers?
And Rodgers is the only one I think still available. Winston went to the Giants. So speaking of the Giants, Abdul Carter, he's got to be he's the next Micah Parsons, they said. They see Micah Parsons every week. They see the Eagles every week with the division. I think they finally go get their guy. Even though they have Thibodeau, I think they get 2 deep end rushers, and they really try to do what the other teams in that.
You don't think they like Shador?
No. I think they got Wilson. They just got Wilson and Winston. I don't think they go get a young guy. I just don't think they do it.
Especially, I guess, one that wants to be the highlight
exactly.
star.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I still think there's no Shador. So fourth pick, Will Campbell, O-tackle. I think you go from LSU. I think you go get a player to protect Drake May.
Can we go back to that 3?
Yes.
I think that's going to be a trade.
Okay.
So that'll be my first
edit to it.
Trade.
Okay.
Because I think because of the quarterback options they've picked up.
Yeah.
They will say, we'll go to the next round and see what falls in our lap.
Okay. All right, so Campbell 4 to the Pats. That seems like pretty much a lock. He's a great offensive tackle. I know he says he has short arms, but I think they got to find somebody to protect Drake May in the future of their franchise. So Campbell 4. Number 5 is where it gets interesting. The Jags, a lot of people are thinking Genty would go there. I don't think they've missed out on a small running back. I mean, no offense to
no, I know what you're
ETN.
Yeah, well, Etienne and
I mean, Maurice Jones-Drew did a lot of good things as a small running back for the Jags, but
former Auburn guy that's there right now, that's their star running back.
Who is
Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, Bigsby. Yeah,
It's Bigsby. He's their star running back currently right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just don't think they go running back. I think they go the defensive side of the ball. And, this is a team that has the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, maybe not anymore with Josh Allen.
Right.
I think Mason Graham from Michigan is the pick right here. I think that with Bigsby, with ETN, I think that's kind of – I don't think they go running back here. So I'm going Mason Graham. That leads me to the Raiders. The Raiders have no running back on their roster right now.
And quarterback, they've got what, one?
One.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting
I think
decision
that
for them
Genty, they
regardless.
want Vegas. They want I think going and getting him. Boise's not too far from there. Everybody knows about Genty on the West Coast. Geno Smith is their quarterback, I believe, now. So that, to me, I think if you don't have a single running back on your roster, you go get the best running back available, and that's Genty. A tie for running back, but I think
still,
the running back's coming back. Like
Could
special.
you imagine him in that Raiders? Yeah. And I think Vegas could hype him up huge.
Yeah.
And if you get him,
Yeah.
that's awesome for you to go all the way to like the 4th or 5th round as the Raiders.
Yeah.
And get someone like Scatterbo.
Yeah.
Or somebody that's just a backup
Yeah.
that you know is going to work their butt off.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
All right, so then we'll go to the Jets. Jets have the 6th pick. I think they go get an offensive tackle, Armand Membo from Missouri. He's a really good tackle. I don't think the 2 tackles they have. I think they need, if they're going to. Justin Fields is their quarterback now. I think that if you want to protect Fields and let him do his thing, I think you go get somebody to block for him. Breece Hall's a great running back. They got great receivers, Lazard and Garrett Wilson. I think you go and you get a good offensive young offensive lineman.
I like that pick. That's a good one.
All right. Then you got number 8, Panthers, Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia. We know they spent a lot of money, and they got Bryce Young. They got a great future. Leggett was a good receiver, the Southern Twang receiver from Carolina.
Yeah.
I think you go defensive side of the ball, get a good Georgia linebacker. Jalen Walker could actually go a lot higher than this. He's a really good player. 9, the Saints. Here's where I think Sanders goes off the board. Shedeur is dropped. People say even more than this, but I truly think that the Saints need a quarterback. This is where they take Sanders at 9. I was going to see what you thought about that.
It's hard for me to see any team actually saying, I want him as a first-round quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting pick to me. If he does get taken, that's awesome. Props
They got Rattler. They got Derek Carr. I think that
Rattler's not going to be your
so
star.
I think Derek Carr is a good person. He's on the last leg of his career to maybe get with Sanders, and then he's working into a job and not getting the job like I think he would fail at. It's going right away in there like Jaden Daniels. Different story.
Well, yeah, the Saints need a lot more development around them.
All right, which leads to number 10 pick, Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end. The kid's been incredible. I think he's an X factor. I think the Bears got to get somebody for Caleb Williams, and they got good receivers, but they don't have that stud tight end. This guy can do it all, fullback, tight end. Get him that good security blanket like Mark Andrews, Kittle, Kelsey, etc.
Oh, yeah.
And for Caleb Williams. So,
I think Caleb's proven a lot of people wrong for the Bears and everybody critic-wise. He's shown that he can carry that team with not a whole lot around him. So I think if they start developing, like you said, and getting people protecting him and then getting the tight end weapon for those red zone plays, I think.
Yeah.
All
right. 11's the 49ers. Not used to picking so high. This is the one year they don't make injuries. They've traded off pretty much everybody. I think they go get Ted McMillan for Arizona. They just gave up Debo. This is the time where you go get somebody that can play the outside with Ayuk. You can't lose Debo and not go get somebody to get some production. So I think they go get the best receiver on the board and McMillan from Arizona. So
basically, if Hunter isn't taken in the top 5, I wonder if he could fall down to the 49ers, or do the 49ers trade up and that's who gets that number 3 pick from Giants?
Wow, he could fill a lot of needs. So that's a good, maybe trade up and go get Hunter. Because the Browns need a quarterback. I don't think they need Hunter, so that's a possible trade. That's a good call on that. Cowboys, I think they got to go DB. They've gotten beat so many times at DB. Yes. I know they have Diggs. He's been hurt a lot. I think they got to shore up. They got Parsons. They got the quarterback. They got the receiver. They got the line. They have everything in place. I think that they need to go get Will Johnson, who I think is the best corner in the draft, and shore up their DBs.
So I think you're exactly right. I think the problem for the Cowboys these past probably 10 years is they keep trying to funnel money around to be able to pay players like Dak, and that's taking money from skill players. And when you've got 6 DBs on your roster, 4 are starters at all times. And then you've got 2 backups that rotate a lot of situations. Like when Noah was there, they didn't give him enough time to become a starter because they were trying to find more money. So they had to shop him around and send him on a trade. So when you're trying to spend more money on one side of the ball and you're taking it from the other, you need somebody who's a young star. And I think that's a good decision is go for a cornerback.
And guys that don't, Surtain doesn't come off the field. You can get a first-round corner that just doesn't come off the field. That helps you out so much. You lock one of those 4 spots up, like you said. Next one's a surprise pick. I think the Mike Green kid, we talked about him at the Senior Bowl, really just exploded and dominated people down there. I think the Dolphins, I don't remember the last time they've had a big-time defensive end that's really been a game changer. It's got to be. They've gone so much offensive on the side of the ball. I know they have a. I'm trying to think. They got the DB. The defensive end they had that was really good.
Jason Paul Taylor.
No, it was, and they drafted him pretty high. Let's see. It was Bradley Chubb, so he's kind of a linebacker.
Okay, I thought he was an outside linebacker.
He's an outside linebacker. So really, they haven't had a guy that has really wreaked havoc, and I think that's where you start. I think go get this Mike Green kid and see what he can do. They have all the explosive weapons on offense. Let's get somebody on defense that can get to the pass rusher, because again, great teams have good pass rush. So all right, leads us to the Colts. Colts, I don't know what to think about the Colts. Like I really don't, because I think there's so much of them. They have Anthony Richardson, who's a young kid. They bring in Flacco. They do this. They do that. I think they're a really good team. But I think that to me, the games they lost, they lost because their secondary play. So I go get Malachi Starks. Remember that was their Bob Sanders was a big reason they won a lot of games back in the day when the great Colts team. Go get somebody like Malachi, who's the best safety on the board, and start have a headhunter back there on the defensive side of the ball. People have had a lot of success getting Georgia guys.
Yes.
He's another really good player from Georgia.
Look at the Eagles. I think 7 of their starters are Georgia.
The Eagles have the whole starting defense is Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's insane.
All right, getting to the last of kind of the lottery of that, the Falcons. I think they go get Kelvin Banks, the offensive lineman from Texas. I think you got your new quarterback. Cousins is they got the lefty. They if you want to build around your young quarterback, you go get a good offensive lineman. And so
who's their running back?
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they got and they got Penix Jr. From Washington, who's their quarterback.
Okay.
Go get an offensive lineman,
protect,
and help with that rush. And he's kind of an interior guy, and I think that's what they need.
That's a good pick.
Cardinals, you know them better than anybody. They got the quarterback, they got the receiver. I think they go get somebody on a linebacker. They need to shore up the defense. Campbell's a big time player from Alabama. There's probably some other guys, the Stewart guy from A&M or Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, I think could go here. But I think go get a linebacker, and then you got the offense. Go start shoring up your defense.
I think you're right, too, for a linebacker role type. If you pay attention to the Cardinals, when they get a great defensive player, they treat them right. They hold on to them.
Yep.
You had Budda Baker. You had Patrick Peterson. You had, now, granted, Patrick's last year when that deal didn't go through, apparently they weren't treating him right. But they kept him there for so long. So if you can get you a stud linebacker, like you said, one from Alabama, one from Georgia somewhere.
Yeah. Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Tomlinson, those are all good, and they got Budda still. I think a linebacker is kind of what they need.
Exactly.
And all right, so next would be the Bengals. They missed the playoffs last year. You just signed 2 receivers for all the money in the world. You got Burrow for all the money in the world. I think you go get an offensive lineman, get Booker, protect your quarterback to give him time to get to those receivers. I think that's the only option. They've obviously proven they want to be a high-scoring team. Go get somebody to protect your most valuable asset, and then they can give you time to get it to your other 2 most valuable assets. That's the only reason of doing that right there.
So this would be my one option for this. Possible trade down to get 2 or 3 third-round or second-round picks.
Okay.
And pick up linemen back to back to back.
Okay.
Because if you go for a first-round pick, when that contract's up, they're the higher paid option or whatever, right? You have to pay them first, or you have to pay them higher because they're first-round pick. Second, they're going to probably be a better weapon and negotiate higher than what their base salary was. If you get them all in the same class, you kind of save yourself a good bit of money for those first couple years.
Very, very good point.
I think that would be a good trade for them because they're going to get some same quality linemen. Just for a little bit cheaper.
Okay, got you. All right, next will be the Seahawks. You got a new quarterback, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, both going to fight up for that job. Sam Howell's actually also there too.
Oh goodness!
But that's
awesome.
You got the receivers, Kupp's there, Jackson Smith,
Ninjigma.
Yeah, Noah Fant, great tight end. I think the defensive side of the ball, Kobe Bryant, Devin Witherspoon, they got a ton of good players. But Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and Jerron Reed are all big guys. Mm-hmm. I think they need to go get Stewart, who's an outside edge guy, to
speed a little bit.
Yes. I would say Nolan again, but I think they got guys like Nolan. So go get Stewart from A&M, who wrecks tons of havoc, and put him on the outside.
Well, so what are the Seahawks running this year? Do you know? Is it going to be a 4-front or a 3-front?
It looks like it's going to be a 3-front, a 3-4.
Then you do need some speed on each end.
And he could probably play each of the outside linebackers.
Now you're going to have linebackers that also double as edge rushers.
Yeah.
So if you do have 3 big across the front and you're just sending a rush every time, that's different. Yeah. But if you're spending on those 3 to get there, you need some speed too.
All right, this brings us now to the last. We're going just 20 picks. We're not going all the way through. This is the Bucs team that squeaked in the playoffs, lost to your Redskins. I think they go Walter Nolan. I think this is the team that in their worst times, they can score with anybody, but they have nobody that can just stop the run.
Who's their tight end right now?
Who is? I think it's a couple.
It's young guys, right?
Yeah, young guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but to me, it's one of those things where I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, they need somebody that can wreak havoc at the front of the line. And that's why I go Walter Nolan here. I think he drops way too far. They got Jamal Dean. They got Whitfield. They got Levante David.
K. Dotton. Okay.
Yeah. But, they got Evans, got all these great receivers. They got the running back. They got Mayfield. I think D-line and getting the best player available, which is Walter Nolan, who could be a top 10 pick. That's why I go there. And then that leads us to the 20th pick, which is the Broncos, Bo Nix. I think they go get him a receiver.
And it's not going to, unfortunately, be Tez the first round.
Yes. I think you're going to get his brother.
I do think they'll get him because I think everybody else is probably going to say we'll push him off later down. And I think the Broncos will say, look, we want to make Bo happy. We want to get him a weapon that he knows he can use sometimes.
Well, their defense is great, one of the best in the league. Obviously, they got the best player in the league, Surtain, on defense. Cortland Sutton had a good year. Marvin Mims. But I think go getting Arnold, who at this point, Matthew Golden, who at this point would be the second receiver. Go get Bo a young weapon, and I think build and give him the options, and that make that offense really explode. Because again, they get to the Bills game, they couldn't score the football. They scored the opening touchdown, and that was it. So go get another weapon for him on the outside. And Golden's a great player. He made a lot of big plays for Texas.
And I think Bo is wasn't he proven to be one of the quickest quarterbacks out of the pocket? He was getting the ball out faster than everybody else. So I don't think you need to worry about protection with him. You need to worry about weapons, like Brett said.
Yeah. All right. So to me, we're not going to cover the playoff teams. They obviously in the playoffs, they don't need too much of what to do. But we covered the top 20 teams. I think that's a good 20 players. Again, the only one I think Dart is another one that I think. But I'm interested to see where the quarterbacks go. Yeah. Interested to see where Genty goes. Pete Carroll's the coach of the Raiders now. So I think he likes a big-time player and a flashy player. And, of course, he's in Vegas. I think Genty's a cool little pick for the Raiders. But interested to see what the draft. That'll be next week. And then then football really kind of starts, I guess, the off season of getting you ready and getting you ready to where we can get back to the best time of year, which is the fall here on Tide and Tigers. And we'll see you just a bit for the picks.